Okay, the workflow, it's a very important thing in our daily work because basically it set up the structure of different stages that help us to progress through our shot very efficiently and creatively. And why creatively? Because basically we need to see the workflow as the different stages that evolves one after the other, and they work as sandboxes where we can just get in, get crazy, do all that stuff, follow the rules and follow the time that we only have for that stage, and then jump into the next one, and then I go do again, and when the time is up and we've done everything that we have to do in that particular stage, we jump into the and so on and so on and so on and so on. So basically it's just a series of rules and stages that we have to follow in order to succeed in our shot. And by succeed I mean that we deliver on time, because that's important, and we deliver it with the best creative potential as we can. And this consecution of stages is not just an order process of different stages that we follow, as I said, by order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't do it like 1, 8, 5, 3, 2, 1 like many of us we do, and we get crazy about it. We also follow a hierarchy structure, which means that we go from the most important aspects or parts or poses in our shot to the less important. So for example, we have three main kinds of poses in our animation: the golden poses, the key poses, and the breakdown poses. The idea is that by following this workflow, we work by order of importance. So first we work on the golden poses, we do it as good as we can. When the time is up, when we need to keep going, we stop it and we keep working on only on the key poses, and we do that, and then we jump into breakdown poses. And this is very important really, because animation it's a very creative process. There is always something going on in our mind. We have always ideas that comes and goes, and if we don't learn to stick to the process and to the workflow that we're working on, like for example we're working on our golden poses, and then I have an idea for a breakdown and a smear, and I start adding smears and breakdown and even blinks when I'm still right at the very beginning of our shot, it can get super confusing in a very early ages, and that is going to make our process even more difficult. So there's nothing bad about having ideas in the middle of one stage. You just need to write it down, like, oh, I have this idea for that. So you sketch it and then you take a note, but in your 3D scene you stick to the stage that you are working on. That basically is. Because we don't trust our own creativity madness, that it can get the things very worse. So what a workflow does basically, it focus our tasks one at a time very specifically. We have to work on golden poses, we only do golden poses, and this is something very good because you're giving yourself the time to only do so. We will talk about later about scheduling and how important it is to understand that workflow and schedule work together. But let's say the way, if you have a stage, a schedule, let's say I'm only gonna be working for golden poses for today and tomorrow, I have these 2 days, you can basically forget about the rest of the world, of the rest of the process that we have to do, and do our best only in those golden poses, right? So you can get very creative, craft a lot of the poses, which is something that we're going to be doing a lot in this course. That means that we need to have or set a certain amount of discipline, like keep ourselves to jumping into a different stage. But as you go and as you progress in your career and you follow this workflow, you're gonna see that it's gonna be easier for you to follow. And not only that, hopefully in the future, when you are already confident and when you have certain experience, you will be able to find your own certain workflow, because this is not mean to be the exact or the ultimate workflow. This is a workflow that has been working for me, and actually that I created, and with the times I found it by myself, that I'm giving to you in order for you to start working and to explore everything that helps with, which is creativity. This is a workflow that helps me a lot to be creative. So by giving yourself that, you can be creative, you can improve as an animator, you can evolve in your career, go whatever you want, and then one day you will be able to create your own workflow. That's the main goal. Okay, so this is going to be the workflow that we are going to be following for the rest of the course. As you can see, it's only on blogging, so we would have a different workflow. We would be doing splining, and two important aspects that we have to consider is that we may have two different workflows depending on the perspective that we're using. If we're talking about production, or if we're working in a production, a film or something, usually they used to ask us about two stages. In the production workflow, they would ask us to do a first pass of blocking, which would correspond to the second stage on blocking, the one that we would do for key poses. And usually the next stage on blocking that a production would ask us to do would be the one that goes for blocking advanced and blocking plus, which would be our latest stage as animator, where we only focus on breakdowns. So this is something that I would love from you guys to keep in mind. There is nothing wrong in having your own personal workflow as animators beyond that production workflow that they do. This is like a very common thing that adds like a lot of confusion to animators, because they try to only have these two main stages on workflow by being animators as well. And as you can see, we're doing a lot of work in between these two, right? So that can add a lot of confusion, lots of things to, if we don't do the things in order, that can create like a lot of issues and chaos in our scenes. So that's why it's good to differentiate in between production workflow and the animator's workflow. Now, if we focus on the animator's workflow here, we can see that we're going to have 5 stages for blocking, and each of them is going to be representing, or is going to be showing which aspects, techniques, or different kind of focus that we will have in each stage, right? So as said before, we will be working from the most important aspects or poses. For example, the golden poses, we will go then to number 2, key poses, 3, the accents, 4, lip sync, and 5, the breakdowns. Now, before we jump into these stages that we actually do, all this is actual work in 3D scenes, we have 2 previous stages where we are going to be talking about soon. That's going to be the pre-production, which only happens when we are starting new shots or we start working with new characters, and the pre-production itself, or the shot planning.